website.com.
Gun Channels would like to remind everybody.
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on and behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. Come to you live every weeknight at midnight, and we chat about guns for an hour. So I'm being worked right now, so that's why we started late. It's gonna happen. I don't know, it's too much to ask. I just want every single midnight time slot every single day of every single weeknight. It's not that much to ask, but whatever. So anyway, we're over here looking at Riding Shotgun with Charlie's channel over here. That's a dude who does interviews with Second Amendment activists. What else do we got? We can also jump over here to another dude. Oops, here we go. Over here to another dude named Steven. Gary posted a link about this dude earlier. Rich was on his show. Seems like a dude who's into cowboy stuff. So if you want to link to a guy's channel, he's at 502 subs. You could probably use some more subs. And he's over there chatting with them on Clover's chat. All right, so what are we doing tonight? There's something I was going to do, and I totally forgot what it was because I've been listening to live chats. What was I planning on doing? That's what happens when I didn't prep anything. I've been over here. Oh, I was going to send a link to this guy. So I already posted a link to the chat out there. If you want to join in, feel free. Otherwise, I was over at the Second Amendment Foundation's podcast tonight. Boom. So this is some guy named Walt who has a channel. And see if he wants to jump in tonight. If you want to jump in, feel free. Looks like it's either me and Chris or me and Barbecue. I don't know. It's one of the two of you. So thanks for joining in tonight. It might be just the both of us, or maybe more people will show up. I don't know. But anyway, there's a link out now to some guy named Walt, who I chatted with over on the Second Amendment Foundation's third night of their chat. How do I, is there a way to look at who you subscribed to recently? Is that how this thing works? No. Maybe I can go to my history and go down to open up my whole history. It would have been before Yankee. Barbecue, welcome.
How are you doing tonight, G?
Yeah, for midnight. I'm trying to look for. Dang. Oh, okay. I can look at the time here. So it would have ended at 7. I must have been looking at it during that. So G23, that's his YouTube. Huh, why isn't it showing me this other guy's YouTube? It's weird. So let me channel videos. Anyway, this guy named Walt, did he send me a link in his email? Yeah, I don't have a link to it now. I subbed to some guy's channel, and he had a whole bunch of Pro 2A stuff. How the hell do I get to it? Now it's bugging me. Is there a way for YouTube to tell you, like in chronological order, who you're subbed to? Let's see.
I think if you go to your channel, it shows it that way. If you go to your subscriptions, I could be lying though, but I think the last time that I looked, it showed me them and like the ones that I subscribed to most recently.
I actually, I guess I subscribed to him on the Daily Gun Show. I was logged into the different channel. So I'm going to flip over to the screen capture and we'll just look at this guy's channel. So this is the guy I invited in today. Looks like he's got, well, for one, he was hanging out in the Second Amendment Foundation's chat room, wondering how to get involved in Second Amendment stuff. So number one, there you go. Number two, he's got a channel in most of his videos. If we do a quick 2A audit here. Aristotle's gun violence, minorities deserve protection. Assault weapon is a useless and loaded term. We got him from about a month ago. So I don't know what's Gun Nuts Media. I think I know who Paul Harrell is. He makes gun review videos. He's like Nothing Fancy or Hickok or somebody. And then I think I've heard of Gun Nuts.
Paul Harrell does more stuff with ballistics and stuff like that.
Okay, so it looks like he's doing videos where he's talking about it. Oops, I left it completely. History, debunking, go backwards instead of closing it. And then this one. All right, so he's doing the kind where he stands in front of the camera. And then
foundation for what causes gun violence. And I promise it's not as boring as it sounds. Now, you might be thinking he's going to be talking about causality and he's going to be talking about old philosophy stuff. Thanks, Captain Obvious. Why are you talking? The reason is that there's tons of people who are...
yeah, interesting. So got a couple of videos and he was over there. So let's send him a link. We'll see if he jumps in. Otherwise, we can chat about... Is this the people I'm sub to? No, this is just my... This is just me clicking on subscriptions. Yeah, so this is the people I'm sub to who have, posted stuff, I guess. It's weird that because I'm logged into the other channel, it's showing me the Daily Gun Show as a separate channel. Whatever. Mark Victor had something here. I don't even watch anything about COVID. Sometimes when you subscribe to somebody, I wonder if it shows their stuff in your feed. It's showing mostly Ghost and fucking Clover. Attorneys for Freedom. Are the only people posting stuff? There's got to be more people posting stuff. Maybe that's because I was just watching the chat with them, so it's only giving me the things that I think it wants, or things I want. It's weird. Look at all these people I sub to.
Is that Gun Nut guy the one that went on that big rant on Paul Harrell?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't really pay attention to that kind of stuff. I guess if I log into the
channel,
that's more like it. I was just logged in on some other fucking channel. This is so yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. If they're YouTube channels, I guess I don't know what they're doing. Let's see. So I didn't post a link to this on Patreon. I posted a link earlier so that if anybody wanted to watch the Second Amendment Foundation's thing on Zoom that didn't want to join Zoom and watch it, could have just jumped into a StreamYard and then we watched it, on my screen capture or whatever. I did that through Patreon, so I didn't want to post another Patreon, and then I just turned that video off. I never actually went live, so nobody really showed up, just Enrique showed up on the outside of that one, so nobody really cares that I killed the outside of that one.
Yeah, I didn't get the email till like 10 o'clock, and I was like, oh, crap, I missed this.
The one about the one today?
Both. One yesterday and today.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I didn't realize that they were doing it for like 3 days until I read your email today.
It was at different times. It was like staggered by an hour. So, like for me at least, one was an hour, and then the next day it was an hour later, and the next day it was an hour. I guess it's the same for everybody. It would be like that for everybody. It's just that for you guys, it would be, well, if you're out east or something, it would have been like 7, 8, or 9, I guess. For me, it was 5, 6, and 7. But anyhow, Charlie is over on Clover Show now, and he does a deal where his project is, I guess he's copying off of some comedian who drives around like this in cars with people, and they tell jokes or whatever they do. And what Charlie does is interview Second Amendment advocates mostly. Every once in a while, he has like a gun shop owner Usually if it's like something going on, like this guy's a gun shop owner, but it's a gun shop owner who was kind of standing up to the you must stay closed or you're not essential type of laws or rules or whatever. There's Clover. It was a shorter one. But most of the time he does like a 40-minute, half an hour to 40-minute, sometimes a little more, kind of a drive around. In the beginnings, or at least with some of them that seemed like towards the beginnings, they might go somewhere. He would pick somebody up and they'd like go towards a destination, maybe drive to someplace and come back. Not to actually spend time there, but just to have a destination to come back or to and from. And he doesn't really even have a webcam or a dash cam, I should say. He doesn't really even point a camera out of the vehicle too much at all. Kind of does now, but he, it wasn't really the point of where they were going as much as they were just going to drive around and have a conversation. And Charlie isn't, he doesn't dominate the conversation really. He basically just gives them time to chat. He's not a dead log or whatever. He'll say stuff. But for the most part, he doesn't really try to steer the conversation. He just gives them an opportunity to talk about them and their projects, which I value. I like that. And there is some style to it. There's some humor and stuff because Charlie's not a robot. But so anyway, his project is awesome. He's been doing this now for 3 years, I guess it says, but that could be anywhere from 2 to 4 years because YouTube doesn't really care about it. It says 3 years like that. But when we pick one at random, I'm just going to pick this last one. And you look at his description, like right now we're being corked over there, and they're talking about people that think they're shadow banned or whatever. That's because they don't do what Charlie does. So Charlie's got this, I don't know what you want to call this, like definitely more than a description. He's like actually written some text about what's going on here, more than just copying and pasting. He's actually giving actual words. So typing his own words out here. And then he's got a bunch of this stuff, boilerplate, we'll call it. Now, how do I turn this? I should have turned this thing on. I gotta go figure out where my vidIQ shit is. To an intermission here. So I don't know who all's out there tonight. I got Barbecue in here. He was out there. Chris may or may not still be out there, but it says we got 4 people. So if there's anybody else out there, say, hey, I'm going to take a second to go get a password, I guess. Should probably just stop screen sharing so I don't accidentally show everybody all my passwords. And then log into this stupid vidIQ. Oh my goodness, it's hot. I have to also take a second to see if I can open up a window or something. It's pretty horrible in here. I guess I don't realize it until I actually have to start talking. This is fucking hot. Let's see. I can open that up. I'm not screen sharing, so I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, so it's just me, Chris, and Barbecue. So I'm just going to be digging into Charlie's stats over here because I'm curious. There we go. And what am I looking for? This thing is called vidIQ.
Is he going to show up and pop in after he's done with Clover, do you know?
Well, I never give him a link. I used to give everybody links and no one showed up ever, so I quit sending links out. But even then, I'm pretty sure Charlie is like, he's in Massachusetts, but he's got some sort of like, he teaches children. I don't know what he does now because of the whole thing, but he could never join because of the time.
Gotcha.
All right, so now I've saved that, and now I can close this. Yeah, just close it, and then open this back up. Click on this so that it takes the whole screen. There we go. And now this gives us insight. This vidIQ is a tool. It's a browser extension, so a tool that you run in your browser, and it'll tell you about the video that you look at on YouTube, and it doesn't have to be yours. So now we're looking at Charlie's video. The whole right side of the screen here is giving us stats about his video. And the thing I like most is the tags, because that's something that you can't just see normally. You don't. I guess you probably could view the source and dig into the page underneath the code that makes the page. In fact, let's find out if that's in there. It's probably in there because they have to be getting it from somewhere. But you'd have to dig in here and know where to find it. And then whenever you did find it, let's see if I can do a search. I do a search for tag. That might be a weird thing to search for, but found 31 instances of tag. So now I'm just jumping through those 31 instances of tag, and they're pretty much all bogus, weird junk. But I'm guessing eventually we'll get to, oh, see, Stagecoach has tag in it. That's interesting. Then tag is just a commonly used word. So now we're getting into a description of tags. We're down to 23. We're back into codes, and then more code, boring code, horrible code, code. Oh shit, we're not gonna find it. Oh, there it is. I didn't realize it was showing us over here. What was going on over there? That's cool. So, nah, it still ain't gonna. Oh no, it does. It shows us right here what the tags are. So I'd have to go in here and look for it on line, whatever the F line this is in the code. And then it'll finally say span class equals keyword React equals blah, 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 data keyword equals quote. And then you find Stagecoach Across America. But with this app, I don't have to dig into all that garbage. It does that for me, displays it on the screen here. And that's literally all this is doing. So when people say, I got a browser extension, it's just some software that says, look at the code of this website. Instead of doing just what it wants you to do, additionally, look at this other stuff that it really doesn't have any interest in telling you, but it's not, I mean, it's there. You can look at it. It's just that it isn't told to look at it. It's just a piece of little code on the browser that says, hey, let's just go ahead and look at these other things and then bring this ad in for you. So that's how they get paid, by putting all this stuff here. Anyway, they only had to write this code once. They put it on the internet and put this ad on it, and they're getting paid for the rest of the time. Pretty good scam if you know how to write code. All right, so some of this stuff, I'm guessing they interpolate off of the code that's embedded in this page, and then other stuff they're pulling maybe from just knowledge. If this thing has 81 views and it was published on May 26th, and knowing everything they know about YouTube, they can probably create some equations and get some of this data. But whatever, we're seeing that it gets 1.2 views per hour, which who cares? It's just a bunch of data. But sometimes it's interesting if you have, I don't know, a whole bunch of videos to compare. You can use these characteristics to determine what might be different about that video, or what might be more appealing to your audience and that kind of stuff. But what we're talking about here as far as shadow banning isn't what's appealing to an audience or what's appealing to a human being. Instead, what's appealing to a robot, the robots that run the internet, or in this case, the social platform YouTube. So this data, this stuff here is important because since he wrote this out of his brain through his fingertips and a keyboard onto here, this doesn't exist anywhere else on the internet. That's unique. That is a very valuable chunk of data that I have highlighted right there. This stuff is a little less valuable. This stuff is medium value, but it has value. This stuff here is less value, but it has some value to the internet, to the algorithms that run all this stuff, because it's fairly unique to Charlie's stuff, but it's more useful to the people he's linking to than to him. This, though, is super valuable to him and everybody he's linking to, because when he gets better, they get better. So let's take a look. And this is something he can do, and he has to do every single time. The tags are something that he has done, he could do, but he doesn't have to do it every time. You do this occasionally or periodically and monitor it. This stuff is something that's a task you have to take care of every time you post something if you want your stuff to succeed and actually be useful as what it is. This makes his content so much more useful. 10 years from now, when people are trying to figure out what's going on, this is going to be a big gold nugget on the internet, where everybody else who's just copy and pasted something about Lauren is useless. It's just more copy and pasted garbage without footnotes or whatever. Anyhow, so when we're looking at this is definitely useful and it's got value, but alone it's not gold that's valuable to the rest of the world. So he's not going to become the superstar of the internet with it, but it is valuable. But over here, these are the things that I think get compared to this. So these work in conjunction to each other in a way. And then these are a leverage. So these work with the rest of the platform and with the rest of the platform and your content to be a leverage. So by ignoring these, you lose any leverage. By doing these wrong, you maybe apply leverage poorly or in the wrong direction. So you can not use them to your peril, and you can use them incorrectly to your peril. When you have them set up and they're working correctly, it's like having a motorboat instead of a Oars. Does that sound is that a good one? I don't know. But anyway, let's see what he's got. Riding shotgun with Charlie. Amazing. He's number one for that because he's the only person on the internet that calls himself that. Is that useful? I don't know. Take the win, but don't expect to win anything from that. Being the only one with your name, right? That's sort of like winning by having your own name. Charlie Cook, nothing wrong with that. Riding shotgun, probably worth having. He doesn't rank in it yet, though. So having just riding shotgun is not enough. Whale on that. There's no law that says you can't have a lot of stuff in here. So permeations of riding shotgun all over the place. I mean, if nothing else, separate shot and gun, right? But do different things here. Riding shotgun, riding coach, riding in a car. I don't know. I don't even know. Find some engine that'll tell you all the permeations of that. You can think you know what riding shotgun means, but if I go to YouTube and I try to search for riding shotgun, it's going to tell me what it thinks I mean. Riding shotgun song, riding shotgun trucker, riding shotgun remix. So YouTube is telling me these autocompletes for a reason, not because it's got nothing else to do, but because it desperately wants to do what I want, wants to give me what I want so that it can sell me something, so that it can put some ad somewhere and everybody wins, right? So riding shotgun remix, all these things are in some order based on me, but they exist in the YouTube realm based on it, right? So go find a keyword thing. You can ask YouTube that you can ask to go to YouTube and say, I want to run ads. I want to run ads that say riding shotgun. I don't feel like opening all that up right now, but that would be going into AdSense and saying, I want an ad that has to do with riding and shotgun. And they're going to give you a very similar list like this, only instead of being geared towards me to watch based on what I have watched, it's going to be a list based on what users watch based on what you want to sell. Once you know from YouTube who you have you talk to YouTube and say, I want to buy advertising from you, it's going to give you super important data right there. You're going to be able to take that data and maybe, this is the order it's showing it to me. Maybe riding shotgun firework is the most searched thing in the internet. Maybe riding shotgun song is the second most searched. They're not in that order here because that's not what they're trying to help me with. But you can get that data from YouTube. If you've got autocompletes, those don't come out of thin air. Those come from an engine. And you just have to know how to ask that engine in a different way for the correct sort, for the right order. And once you know that, you can determine if those are going to be worth putting in here. For example, if there's 1 million people searching for riding shotgun song, which really has nothing to do with what you're doing, but you're Charlie who does singing and stuff, why not bring people in under riding shotgun song? It might not be exactly what they're looking for, but if 1,000 people are looking for that every day and 10 people decide Charlie's pretty cool, even though it wasn't what they're looking for, and they're going to keep looking for what they were looking for, but they subscribe to him along the way, he gets 10 new viewers every day for putting one different thing over here, taking 20 minutes to research it and putting one extra word in there. That might turn into 10 viewers a day. Once those 10 viewers start happening, what is 10 viewers a day? Is that a number, or is that 10 human beings that live a life and are out there living their lives every day with other human beings? And there's an opportunity for someone to say, what do you know about somebody driving in a car? And boom, you've got another person. So that's exponential growth right there. You get a lot of potential from getting people to talk about your stuff. So you want to get people to find your stuff. These tags can be pretty useful. That being said, that's just one little thing. So I wouldn't spend your whole life worrying about this. Get some concept of it. Maybe talk to people who've done it a few times and act on it. Remember about it. Put it on your list of shit for the next 6 months and address it. But don't get focused on this shit. This is insignificant to what's really happening. Charlie's got to worry about how he's going to get to the next place to interview the next people and take time to make the videos and all the other stuff he's thinking about too. So I don't know. I just had something to talk about. So that's what we're looking at. And I was kind of curious what kind of tags he's getting, because I get the impression that he's not satisfied with these 81 views. That one's a bad example. It's only a couple of days old, but 37 views. I have no idea who Meet the Pressers are either. 200 views, 500, Laura Smith. 392 from Rob. 688 with Mueller. I Imagine that has something to do with the amount of reach that those people get, how interesting those people are, and then something to do with timing. This might have been, in fact, I think this was right around the time when she had talked to Congress. So obviously, somebody talking to Congress saying shall not be infringed might get a little more attention at the time than whatever. But anyhow, figured I'd go over and take a look at Charlie's, talk about it a little bit. We got, you should get your display photo made. Okay, let's see what we got going. I'm still here. So this is from way before. Barbecue's in here. I just haven't had to give him a chance to say nothing. DTP is out there. Wheeled and Well Armed is out there. You're saying you should get your logo, you're saying, made into a sticker? Did you make that up or did you get that somewhere, Wheeled? I don't know if I've seen that one before or not. I think I've seen something similar, but it's hard to know if it's the same or not. Well, 28 minutes in, and there was something I was going to do. I was going to build something tonight or update something tonight, and I can't think of it for the life of me. I do have like 8 other things on my mind, though, and it's getting super hot. So I'm going to let Barbecue say stuff, and I'm going to go see if I can open a window, see how hot it is outside.
All right, so stuff. Sorry, guys, I'm not really sure what to talk about here. I was actually just enjoying that little learning experience with all the YouTube stuff. But yeah, Wheeled and Well Armed. I love that logo. If you want to say, I haven't seen one like that, so I thought that was pretty slick. I like that a lot. How is the weather for everybody else? Obviously, we know it's hot where G-Webs is, but it's nice and cool up here.
It's a little stuffy. It was like 107 today, I guess. I don't know what it is outside. I'll try to look.
Wow. Let's say the last few days it's been about 90 here. We're breaking records, and I've been miserable. Luckily, we've got some rainstorms moving in today and tomorrow, so it's cooled back down. But I'd be miserable if it was 107.
Yeah, it sucks. The sucky part is when it's 107 for a month or 110 and stuff. Doing 107 like this, I guess it was 104 today. It'll be 107 tomorrow. I'm being a baby about it. But it'll be 75 tonight. Like right now, it's 92. 92 feels like 80. Like it feels cool, right? Obviously, because it's been hot and it's all gross and muggy in here. So I live where I got, I don't know, foot thick bricks. So that's my air conditioner. I just run the AC, the fans all night. It's not really AC, it's just running a fan, opening a window and blowing a fan around. But I'll get the inside and outside temperature equal tonight, like starting now, right? It's 92. I don't know what it is. And I guess I can look what it is in here. It's like 86 or 87 or something like that in here now. I'll run this thing until whenever in the morning, and then it'll be 70 something in here, and then it'll be nice until 6 or 7, something like that, and then it'll start getting kind of shitty, and that's for a while, and then it'll get to where it doesn't get nice at night, like it'll be 90 at night, and that's when it sucks, because then I can't cool my house ever, and that's when I'd rather live somewhere else. But it's especially gross right now because they said there's a 10% chance of rain today. What is it, tomorrow? Or maybe I'm mixing up today and tomorrow. 20% tomorrow. That's any amount of humidity is annoying for us because we're completely specified to any humidity. So that 20% or 13% humidity is like living in a lake for me. It's horrible here. I'm sure most people would probably be happy to have that, but it really is. You get used to the lack of it. But anyway, Chris is saying 82, 69. I don't know. Where's that? I forget where everybody's at. Oh, thanks. Mosquitoes. I'm pretty sure I could handle Kentucky, though. but I'd have to have some sort of screens. Or maybe in the middle of a lake. If you get in the middle of a lake, am I right? You get rid of them. You can get away from the mosquitoes in the middle of a lake, right? You know what I mean?
I think so. I was out on a boat just last year, and I don't remember having any mosquito issues.
Yeah, DTP, I'm 100%. I can't deal with it. I go to Florida occasionally, like only been to Florida like a handful of times my whole life. I don't know how people can live there. I guess you get used to it. But whenever I came out here, did I ever visit out here? I don't think I ever visited out here. I had visited to California before, and I assumed Arizona must be something like California. I guess I kind of drove through here one time before I moved out here. But yeah, whenever I first came out here, it was just night and day to Florida. But you're over by Houston, right? That would be pretty humid too. Anyway, you were saying something else besides the heat, though. Oh, going through that website stuff or whatever. I don't know what to call that. I guess you'd call it like the Google. I don't want to call it analytics. I guess it's analytics, but the statistics or whatever.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize you could go and look at that for other pages or
Yeah,
channels.
It can be pretty useful. I think that most people think of it like driving, right? Most people get like fixated on these gauges in an unhealthy way. If you're driving, you need a speedometer and a tach and a gas gauge and all that crap, right? You need all that. And if you're a race car driver, you need it probably more and more often or whatever, right? It's more important. But you would not be a good driver if you watched your speedometer and then occasionally looked at the road, right? Like that would be a messed up, what should I say, like it's proportion of how to deal with it, right? That would be like the wrong way to do it. That's when you're trying to do something and you're constantly looking at your gauges, you're not doing it anymore. Now you're trying to game it, but you're not doing it good. So you're just watching yourself fail, really. So I don't know how else to explain it. You can really get screwed up, though. And at the olden days, people were less willing to help each other, and you had to kind of glean that information. But I've had the experience now of, I don't know, fucking a decade of working with people and watching people who are willing to share, about their dashboards and their mindset and their ambitions, as to the community, to the group as we go along, and watching people come and go. That's the number one way to screw yourself up. That meme where somebody's riding a bicycle and they jam a piece of stick in their own spokes, fall off the bike. The best way to do it is to pay attention to your stats. Like if your stats are some sort of anything, like your speedometer is your car. Like, does anybody buy a car because of their speedometer? Does anybody go up to another person's car and have to look at their speedometer? What the fuck are you looking at your speedometer? It's like just one barely piece of your tool,
I almost bought a motorcycle because of the speedometer. The old, well, I shouldn't say old, the Yamaha V-Stars, I believe the Strataliners is what it was, but the speedometer was like the speedometer in like an old 50s Chevy. It was really neat. I mean, the bike overall was awesome, but like just that really awesome looking speedometer almost pushed me over the edge on it. But I was like, do I really want it just for the speedometer?
You can say a bike's a little bit different, sort of one of the things you're going to look at constantly on a bike. I mean, it's one part of the bike you're going to see all the time. I shouldn't say like you're going to look at the gauge all the time.
Yeah, especially with where it was located. I mean, it would be like right in your periphery pretty much the entire time you're riding.
And anytime anybody looks at your bike, they're going to see that. It's like having a dumb-looking gas tank. You can't hide that on a bike.
Yeah.
So I missed this. I think Wild was saying it's my artwork. Doing patches and T-shirts. How are you doing them? You're not putting down money someplace? Are you doing the print on? Yeah, I got to take this. I got to drink something. You got the print on demand going, or are you running a batch of them somewhere? How do y'all get rid of hiccups? I just sit here and breathe calmly, without hiccuping, hopefully, and then they go away.
normally if I'm in person with somebody and they tell me they have the hiccups, I'll wait like 5 or 10 seconds after they've told me that, and I'll just scream really loud in their ear because I've always been told that if you get scared,
Mhm.
it's supposed to make the hiccups go away. I
think
normally
that-
get punched right after that, but I'm like, well, your hiccups are gone, so you owe me an apology.
I haven't done that one in a while. I think when I was little, that was more of a thing. I don't know, I get them every once in a while, but whenever somewhere I figured out if you just sit there and breathe, they go away pretty quick. Because I was doing all kinds of stuff back in the day, drinking water. That was the worst. Whenever I was a little kid and would get them, for some reason, I thought drinking water was the only way to get rid of them. And, I'd sit there in agony having hiccups for like an hour waiting to get a drink of water because you're a little kid. You don't always just get a drink of water whenever you want. But anyway, then I figured out you could just basically calm down and they go away. Anyway, I don't even know where they come from. Probably from smoking or something.
That's something with your diaphragm. Something gets out of whack. I don't remember exactly what happens, but it's just something with your diaphragm.
I mean, like how you get susceptible to them or whatever. I think kids get them more often, but I figured it was something that had to do with being a smoker or whatever. Talking to Grunt Style, I don't know what that is. Is that a company? And then print on demand, but open to both. I know the patches can be a pain on print on demand because nobody wants to do them. Stickers you can get print on demand fairly cheap. Well, not fairly cheap, but $5-6 for a sticker or something is better than having the shitty fake sticker like what I'm making. But I don't know how many patches you need. The patches is the worst part about patches is you're gonna spend $300-400 period. And that's if you want 20 of them, they're gonna charge you setup fees and everything and blah 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 to make it $300. So it's not even, because they want you to just do a run of them. The suppliers want you to. So they don't ever give you a discount. They don't say, "Oh, you only want one? No problem. It's $4 here." It's you got to buy a bunch to get them at a low price, and then anyway, it's always the same problem. So that's the only advice I can give you there. I wish there was a print on demand. You would think already with the age of 3D printers and all these people that have, I don't know, lasers and stuff, you think they could laser something and 3D print or somehow 3D cut. And then shirts, though, that's the main thing, print on demand. I haven't got any from Teespring yet, but the Cafe Press ones are made in just outside of Las Vegas in, I think of the name, Henderson, Las Vegas. So they've been pretty decent. I'm satisfied with the ones I've gotten from Cafe Press. I've had hiccups for years. That just seems lazy. Like, you'd have to do that intentionally, wouldn't you? I can remember hiccups being annoying, though. Maybe it was in school. I can remember some times when you'd have to do something and they would get in the way. The best, though, I don't know. And the problem I had with, or the only issue, I guess I should say, that I had with Cafe Press, as someone who's trying to appeal to multiple people, was I would set them up. When you go to Cafe Press, you take a design to the website, and then you basically mock up a t-shirt, give it a price, and put it on your store, right? So do whatever steps you need to do to do that. When you go to mock it up, it's going to say, do you want this brand of t-shirt or that brand of t-shirt or this style of t-shirt, tank top or regular t-shirt or baseball jersey or, different kind of stuff. And if you just go plain old t-shirt, it's going to say, do you want this brand or that brand or that brand? So I would go with, there's always like a brand that's fancy. And then there's a brand that is the cheap brand. It's like the inexpensive brand. And then there's usually a brand that's somewhere in between that gets to the fat sizes. So there's almost always at least those three, or they're teamed up in some way that you get some kind of, you have to make a decision. So I would almost always go, it's gun people. We're all old and fat. I went with whichever gives you the fattest sizes. And then I would get feedback from the skinny people who are like, oh, it's not the fancy shirt. I like the good shirt that the neck doesn't stretch out, or I need it to be X and XYZ brand. So that's your dilemma with the only dilemma I've found with the print on demand, which is hardly a dilemma. You just take the design You set it up for the expensive shirt, you give it a price with a markup because those people pay pay for what they get. And then you go to the other one and you put an inexpensive option up there and do less markup on that one because some people just want to be able to promote your stuff. So if you just want to get the shirt out there, just put up 2 shirts. But anyway, that's my only advice on the print on demand. Like I say, I wish there was there was nothing with patches. So I literally went out and bought a machine. Cost almost $1,000. It took years to get it figured out how to work it. But that's the only option I could come up with that was not $30 a patch to do a single patch. 30 or shit, I wouldn't make somebody a patch for 30 or something. It's probably costs way more than 30. It might cost 30 if you're buying a couple off of a place that makes patches. If you're going to buy patches, try a Little League place, a place that does patches for school bands and police departments and shit like that. A lot of times they're made in the USA in the store, or maybe at a regional place. They're going to be 30 or 40 bucks a patch though.
Like a local embroidery.
Back in the day, I haven't done this in a long time, so now I have my own machine. Back in the day, you'd have places that would do it for like Little League teams. So they'd either silk screen or embroidery. A lot of times they'll send the embroidery out though. So they might offer it, but don't actually do it there. And then it kind of depends. Like we've got a couple of places in Tucson that I've tried to work with. One of them is right outside the Air Force Base, and they do like they'll sew tabs onto people's stuff, or they'll put Velcro on, or do all this little stuff that people in the military aren't going to do, right? All the little mending and the sewing ranks on and whatever. It's the Air Force, so they don't really have to sew that kind of stuff on, but sew the Velcro on, I guess. Mostly sewing tabs though, like the names or whatever, your name tab. They did a lot of that kind of stuff. So I asked them about doing patches, and they told me they'd love to. They could do the embroidery part, but they would cost, it was like $3 per patch to have them sew the Velcro on. And then the cost of Velcro and sewing the patch, it was going to be like $7 per patch at 100 or 200 or whatever. I mean, it was insane. To do one like that, they would have charged you by the hour. It'd have been like 40 bucks. So it was just insane. There's no way you can, get stuff done and then ship it and then have it be, less than 40 bucks or something. So it kind of depends. If they do the stuff there themselves, though, that's different. And that's the thing. I mean, I know because I've tried to buy this machine. The machine that makes the edge of a patch costs like $2,000, and a used one costs like $1,700. Like they just don't break and they don't get sold, and they make them new all the time. But I don't know what else they use that machine for. That type of edge or whatever. I can't think of anything that they put it on besides patches. But that machine alone is $2,000. So, I mean, I don't know how often they get repaired and stuff, but the machine's bigger than that, or 30,000 and stuff. So the big machines, they'll sew hats and they'll sew, onto shirts, and they'll sew the stuff that doesn't need to be turned into a patch. So they'll sometimes be able to embroider, but turning them into patches is the stuff that costs the money. Sells patches on eBay. He sells patches that he makes. That might be the way. I've thought about the machine that would be like what I have, the couple $100 grandma machine that grandmas get to sew Mickey Mouse on their kids' stuff, or like a leaf on their wedding handkerchief or whatever they do. And then the next level up is like what a person who's going to sell, or like the kind of store I'm talking about that's going to make a dozen hats for a football team or softball team, or who the hell wears hats, or maybe like sews the name on a bowling team or something like that, or sews patches for a biker gang, something like that. That machine's going to cost you $5,000 to $7,000, and it's going to be as big as a refrigerator or a drill press, I guess. And then if you're really going at it, the next level up is tens to 20s, 30s of thousands of dollars. And those are half a room, and they do 10 or 12 things at a time. Those are really neat. But I've had barely access to those a couple of times. But obviously that's much more investment. And then they're usually making shirts or something. They don't want to take that all apart and turn it into patches, because they've got Hong Kong and China and what's the other ones? All the different clothing countries are already out there doing that stuff. Pakistan? I think I've seen some patches. I've seen some patches from Russia too. So they must have some kind of slave labor or something in Russia. I haven't seen robots that can do too much of it. They must have robots that can do circles by now. But if you've got a patch that's not, oh, actually, I shouldn't say, oh, wait a minute. What am I saying? I don't know. They must have a different type of machine now because I have seen them sew Velcro on patches that were different shapes with a robot. But that's a different type of edge. I guess they just don't care about that edge, but it doesn't matter. If you can't afford a $2,000 machine that can do an edge, you can't afford it on a robot that can be programmed to do any shape edge. All right, well, now we went all over the place. Started talking about SEO, then we went into weather, and then we went into patch sourcing, I think.
So I thought of something else for your wish list, G. Did you ever look up lighting source?
For what?
That wish list you were doing the other night on Amazon.
Lighting source.
Yeah. Just like a light that's got like a cold shoe or a hot shoe on it. So when you're doing your videos, if you need more light, you can flick that on and.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty good deal. If he's being able to, if I'm assuming their friend is buying them straight from a factory, if he's been doing it, if he's selling them for $5 a piece and getting $3 shipping on each one, that's a deal right there. You should definitely talk to that guy. Problem is, and if he's like me, like I can't even get my place to do. I'll one time they've done I think less than 100 for me, but they do not like doing less than 100, and I don't really want to twist his arm. Let's say. Angelina can get less than 100 made, but she owns her factory. So you might talk to that guy if he can do less than 100 or not. But if he's got any kind of relationship with him, he might be able to do that for you. But you see, it's going to cost you 300 for a run. That's about, if that's what he's buying, 100 or something. That's not with shipping though. Then he'll have to pay shipping on top of that probably. A rectangle like a parking lot sign. It's interesting. Sorry, I cut you off there. What were we saying?
Just a external lighting source to whether it's a cold shoe or a hot shoe to put on your camera. Because I know with the lighting that I have at my house, I ended up getting one just because I've got poor lighting. And I get a lot of shadows cast and stuff. And I wasn't sure what it would be like for you in the van.
Oh, I was just doing that as just a way to kill some time and do an exercise or whatever. For the van, I've got like this LED rope light in there. And if I was going to keep it and keep doing stuff or soup it up, I really don't think the van's good for it. Like, honestly, the van it's the 1-ton van. So it's like the largest body van you can get with like a long wheelbase, so it's automatically longer than a regular van. So it's like the longest thing you can fit in a regular parking space, and it takes up the entire parking space. So I'm about the size of like a big pickup truck, like square footage wise. So that way it's not small, and it's technically ideal for some things, but for me it's just really big. I don't need all that space inside. So in the long run, I just don't know if I'm going to keep the thing for too long. But assuming I do keep it for longer, I would probably double up on those rope lights. Like right now, I've got let's say one loop of them. I would do a loop, go in the other. Like right now, the loop comes from the side door to the back and around the other side coming up towards the driver. I would go like the other way. I'd go from the back door towards the driver, around the front, and then back down to kind of put the two curves opposing. That way I could turn one on and one off. Have one yellow and one blue or whatever, have one, both of them on in white. And that way I was thinking I would do something like that. Because it's not that I don't have enough light in there, but I hear what you're saying, like just to get a better color light or whatever that's called. But the thing is you can get those LEDs in like, I don't know what they call them, glossy and matte, like in two different kinds. Is it white and you have blue and yellow. You can get them in different kinds of white light. So I might get the other kind of white light too. I don't know if that's complimenting or not, but just go with another set of rope lights in the van. But as far as the house and stuff, I just went with. I keep talking about these. I think they're only 3 foot, or are they 4? They're 3 foot LEDs from Harbor Freight, not from Harbor Freight, from Home Depot. That weren't even on sale. They're just $19 normally, and they're 3 foot, No, it's one LED that is brighter than 2 4-foot fluorescents. So I used to just have 4-foot fluorescents all around. And as they started to fail here, I was like, well, I'm not going to keep buying bulbs because they're not that cheap. And I know I want to go to LED at some point. And then enough of them failed that I needed to do something. And I wasn't even shopping. I went to Home Depot and I was like, holy moly, these things only cost $20. So I ended up buying like 3 of those and putting them up to replace some of the worst of the 4-foot fluorescents. And just eventually I have replaced them. If I go to Home Depot to buy something, I'll go over there and buy another fluorescent because I know I can put it somewhere. So I've got fluorescents now on the sewing machine where I do the videos, and over here by the computers now, because that's, I don't know if they're better for videos. I guess they're got to be brighter than it was before, but for me, it's the heat. Like they just don't have any heat compared to, for videos, I was using just basically giant flood lights that screw into a regular light bulb, just big flood bulbs that you would use outside in like the yard. They have kind of a spot on them, but turn those things, 3 or 4 of those things on, and they make pretty bright. They were shitty though. They had hot spots, and it wasn't the right color probably, but I've never been too fancy with my videos. These LEDs are, to me, every bit as bright, if not brighter, and I don't think they create any heat.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about LEDs is they draw so little power. You get a great brightness, but like you said, there's no heat to them.
I don't know about putting gels or something in front of them, if that would work or if that doesn't. I'm going to vote round. For square, you're going to kind of pay for size more than likely. You're definitely going to pay for weight. So if you're buying any kind of quantity, weight is a factor. So don't pay for wasted, patch space. There is something to be said if you're putting the patch on a patch panel, and having a bigger patch than your logo gives you an automatic frame so that if it's a big patch panel full of stuff, you don't get lost as much. It kind of creates an area for your logo in the giant patch panel. But if you don't have it on a giant patch panel, it looks weird to have a small logo, right? You want your logo to sometimes be as big as the patch is possibly. So a rectangle wouldn't facilitate that. A rectangle, you're going to have blue space all around that thing. It would look more like a placard, but I think for just a regular patch, a 2.5-inch circle is like ideal, because most of the piece of Velcro you get on like your arm or your jacket or your hat or your bag or whatever is going to be a 2-inch piece. So getting like a 2.5-inch circle is usually about the best bang for your buck price wise, because even if it's complicated, lots of colors, it's only 2.5 inches, so it's not going to be super expensive. 2.5 inches, you can still see it. It will get lost on a patch panel. It's pretty tiny compared to a lot of people's, especially the people that are in the patch game. They know what they're doing, and their patches are going to be, closer to the size of your hand, because they know that they are trying to also look good on a patch panel. They almost never look good on a hat or your arm or nothing, because they look stupid and they look like way too big. But I don't think you're going under that. You're going for that. You're just trying to create a patch that works for you. I would say stick with that exact logo proportion wise on a 2.5-inch.
So I just had an idea for Wheeled and Well Armed. If he's interested in this, I don't know. But on like the t-shirts, if you're going with something that's rectangular and want it to look like the handicap placard, since there's other writing on the handicap placard, you could have your logo guy up top there, and then beneath it, put something like, just the Second Amendment there, and whatever else you want, or other firearm related info. I think that would be pretty neat on a shirt.
Yeah, 100% agree. That would look badass, because that would fit on a shirt, right? Where you are up and down more than your left and right, hopefully. And Yeah, like you say, then you'd have something to write in there, so it would look more like a placard or what. And then you could just take that, whatever you make for that shirt, and literally you can get that silk screened or whatever they call it onto a placard. There's a place that was doing license plates and stuff at the flea market, right? Like doing them personalized right there. So you could probably, I'm sure you can get that online, a person, like a customized parking sign.
Oh, that'd be a cool idea too, because like up here in Pennsylvania, I don't know about everywhere else, but I know in Pennsylvania you can get a specialized license plate that actually has like the handicap logo on the plate, so people don't. I don't know if they still have to display the placard or not if they're parking in a handicap spot if they have that license plate, but at least then people know by just looking at the license plate. So maybe then you could do another shirt with a license plate on it and have it say like a two-way, have the little handicap guy, and then 1776 for example or something. I don't know, and have that look like a license plate.
We can in Arizona, you can go to the website for the DMV, I guess. I don't know, whatever. And when you go to apply for a plate and you choose custom, every time you type one in there, it shows you a little. Well, because we have a whole bunch of different plates you can get, you pick what plate design you want, and then when you type something out, it'll refresh the page and show you what it would look like as a license plate. And I'll just right click and copy that picture whenever, I'll go in there and write whatever I want. They won't show you everything. You couldn't write like shit on there, I don't think. But, if you write like a non-swear on there, it'll display, and then you can just take a picture of it.
Yeah, you can do that on the Pennsylvania DMV website too. I was playing around with it the one night, seeing what it would let me do and whatnot. Like you said, nothing vulgar or anything.
That's how I got the van life ones. I just typed van life. It was nobody took van life. You could get that license plate in Arizona, I guess. So I think it only shows you ones that nobody has. And then, because every once in a while I would type something in, it would say this one's not available. So, nobody had van life. It showed it to me. I just took a screenshot or whatever, right click the picture. Hopefully the DMV isn't listening. Get me. Oh shit, I know what I should be talking about. So I don't know how many people are Patreons or what, but today's the 28th. That means tomorrow's the 29th, the last Free Patch Friday of the month, and we'll be giving away that mare's leg tomorrow. So I think I'm going to do that in like a couple of stages, just to make it more fun. So we'll probably do like the initial qualification or pre-qual or something tomorrow, and then maybe do another thinning down the herd on Saturday, and then do the last one on the last day, the 31st. Have something on Sunday. So we're here because Patreon. So that's it, right? So 200 people out there think that what we're doing is worth the shit, and they throw a couple of bucks at us every month. And some of those people have been doing it long enough and with enough bucks that they've accumulated more than 300 bucks over there. In other words, they've given us 300 bucks of their money to let us do what we're doing. And I want to say thanks. So we're going to give out that mare's leg, and also anybody who's purchased stuff over at the store, I've let you know as well. Now, if you think that together between the store and Patreon, you should be included and you haven't been, let me know, because I'm not trying to screw nobody. I am trying to say thanks to the people that kept us here for a while. So we'll be giving away that mare's leg patch, and then we'll do a initial, what do you call it? Like, what did I just say? The initial thinning down the herd. I think it's like 40 or 50 people that we're talking about. So I'll do like the initial thin down. Then on Saturday, we'll do something else. I don't really like something where you have to be there or you have to fight for it. That would be neat, but I didn't really set it up that way. So I won't require none of that. You've already supported us. So we'll just give it away, and you don't need to be there, but we'll let people have some fun with it. And then I don't even know. I think I've made 4 patches. It's kind of a pain in the ass. So when I've had some time and I'm sitting in there doing other things, I've been trying to sew off some of them mare's leg patches too. So we'll give some of those away to people both who would be getting it anyway, right? Who are going to lose out on getting it. But then also people that aren't even qualified who've just been maybe on board for a couple of months or something. So we'll give away some of the patches to just anybody who's over on Patreon, or maybe one anybody on Patreon, one anybody over at the store. Not like it's that big a deal, but it's just a way that we can say thanks. It's May, and obviously with all this craziness, there's lots of things people could be doing with their money. We have had quite a few people leave. We're down a couple of bucks. I'm not bitching. I mean, I'm still here. So I do appreciate it. And I'm going to be selling these guns anyway. So I'm more than happy to give them to people that allowed us to do what we're doing, the patches. So we'll do that starting tomorrow. I guess I'll be doing Free Patch Friday tomorrow, but I'll also be figuring out what we'll be doing I want to do something funner than random. Maybe we'll do something on the show. If you got any ideas, let me know. But yeah, so I don't know who else listening to this, but I know people do listen to this after the fact. And I'll post something over on Patreon to let people know as well. All right, with that though, we just about hit the hour mark. Are we still being corked over there? Let's go find out.
Let's talk about comparable.
Nope. All right, well, so I guess there's just nobody else showing up tonight. So with that, we'll end it up. Pants just came around. We'll wrap it up unless anybody else got anything else to talk about.
I'm drawing a blank. I got nothing.
Yeah, right on. Well, thanks for jumping in. And yeah, we kind of ran around doing all kinds of stuff tonight. I'm all whatever. I got up at 4, so I'm eventually shifting into this mode. So it'll be tougher and tougher now. I really wanted to start doing a daily thing. And I got hints that we were going to start doing a daily thing. I think somebody will start doing the daily thing, I hope. But I don't think I can handle being awake at noon here when it starts getting hot like this. So I sleep when it's hot. I woke up today at 4, just about in time to fart around, do what I needed to do, and then get into that Second Amendment Foundation's live chat. Got everything set up for that. Watched, I guess, a couple of minutes of Yankees then at the end, and a bit of Clovers, and then started this show. So this is like noon for me. I'll be working on stuff, getting ready for Big Free Patch Friday tomorrow. I'm going to also try to do some incentivizing. Need to pay some bills, and it definitely sucks going week to week with bills and jumping back and forth between trying to get projects done, and then the end of the month sneaks up like this, and I got a bunch of just errands to run and things to do. So anyway, so I'm hoping to incentivize some stuff on Free Patch Friday. I'll be awake all night working on that. So I think I'm going to wrap this one up so I can get to it. Thanks again to the people that show up and be part of this barbecue. Thanks for joining. We sent links out in the chat, so if you'd like to join, feel free. It looks like we might have more people around. G23 isn't out there yet tonight. He was over at the Second Amendment Foundation's live chat. These are people that attended it. I'll tell you right off the bat, these are different people than we're familiar with, because the people that we're familiar with didn't attend it today. These are people that attended it, and they were asking questions like, how do we keep in touch? How do we communicate? And it's frustrating. So there are people out there that desperately want to contribute to Second Amendment progress, and we'll continue to strive towards creating connections and fostering projects. So anyway, if you're watching this and you're at all concerned that things are melting away or whatever, they're not. There's lots of stuff out there. Just a matter of finding it and collecting it and watering it and watching it grow. But yeah, there seems to be a lot of people out there. It's just a matter of where we're listening and where we're focused. So anyway, I don't know what I'm even talking about there, but was pretty impressed with the amount of people that seemed to be interested that I had never heard of before, except for G23 and Alan Corwin. All the people that were on that, I think there was 23 something people listening. not on Facebook, but on Zoom. They had been invited through email. These are not systems like, it's not like having a YouTube chat where people just are used to YouTube and they show up, or imagine the same system on Facebook. This is different. People that were jumping onto a whole different thing to be part of something. And more importantly, or as importantly, or importantly in a different way, the Second Amendment Foundation was on the other end of that line, paying attention to something that a lot of us have been paying attention to for 7 years. I can't even tell you how many people in those 7 years have come and gone because there was nothing sophisticated or of worth in their minds, that they found. Seeing the Second Amendment Foundation, who's responsible for innovations and amplification of worthy projects for a long time, seeing them dabbling their foot in the water is definitely good. So hopefully we'll see that progress. We got Andrew over there, not just Alan. So familiar with the Second Amendment Foundation. Andrew is the son. So he's a lot younger than Alan. He's more familiar with all this tech stuff. He's the one that started 2A Gaming with the other people. So hopefully we'll see hopefully we'll see it stay in a live communication forum and not get thrown into the gutter of Discord and hidden, or into some similar, place to mind your business and have your conversations offline, away from the society. But hopefully we'll see that they value the other side of that, the streaming side, and the ability to reach people not through direct handshakes, but by putting down decent content and allowing competent people to find it. All right, I'm just ranting. So with that, we'll end it. Thanks for showing up. We'll pick you up later.